I got tricked by a narcissistic shaman, took ayahuasca in the Amazon jungle, and survived it. This is part 6 of my story. Go onto my page and see 1 to 5 if you haven't watched them, and then come back to this one. The second time I took ayahuasca, I was so cleansed that it was so intense. I felt like it confirmed my experiences that I was having in London, that there were so many other realms that we just weren't aware of. There were so many spirits, like different energies. They didn't look human at all. They were like really bright colors and kind of like aliens, I guess, but not really like, the pictures that you see of aliens. They were just different beings. And there was so many of them all trying to talk to me in like different languages or frequencies and energies. And it was really, really, really intense, quite honestly. And I remember thinking, this is just too intense. And then it just went dark. And I couldn't see anything anymore. Just darkness. And then I had a vision. But this was in my realm. And it was frightening. It was from when I was a child. And then it was the end of the ceremony. And I was just left, abandoned in this dark energy. No support, no healing, no holding. And then straight back into isolation, on my own, not allowed to talk to anyone, no integration. The hallucinations didn't stop there. They went on for hours afterwards. And I remember being visited by Princess Diana. I remember it so vividly because she was in a wheelchair. And I asked her, "Why are you in a wheelchair, Princess Diana?" She said to me, "Well, remember, I was in a car accident." I became convinced that the hallucination in ceremony was real. He was taking me into a really, really dark place, and I felt a lot of dark energy around me. I spent days and days in isolation, just looping. In my mind, I was just going over and over this memory. I was in a really dark place. It was really scary. And I remember starting to hear voices, like, no one cares about you, like, just hang yourself. And I even saw visions of me hanging. I decided it was all getting too much and I had to seek help. Even though I wasn't allowed to leave isolation, I had to get help. I couldn't do this anymore. So I left the hut, and luckily I bumped into one of the trainee shamans, and she was an absolute angel. She guided me back to the hut, and because I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone, I wrote down on a piece of paper what was happening. And in that moment, she blew tobacco smoke all over me, and I instantly felt grounded, held, and I could feel the grandfather spirit of the tobacco. She was such a blessing. And I'll never, ever, ever forget what she did for me. So, what Dave did to me, left me in a hut, unprepared, no tobacco, open to dark entities. But for some reason, I was putting this guy on a pedestal. And after the 7 days of isolation, he basically was really dismissive towards me when I was trying to unpick and understand what the hell had happened to me. He was really, really dismissive of me and basically said no one leaves isolation. Like, this basically doesn't count towards doing shamanic training. I decided that I needed to get out of here. This was not a safe place for me to be. I no longer believed the memory that I had from childhood. Did ayahuasca heal my trauma and my relationship with men? No. But would I go back and erase this experience? Also no. Because it held a mirror up to my own patterning and my own behaviours in relationship to men. It was powerful. Beyond powerful, really. Because sometimes we learn so much from the darkness. Because all the pedestaling that I'd done for years throughout my 20s, putting men above myself, it was so obvious to me now. And it helped me break out of the cycles that I had with men, putting men above myself. It was a catalyst to breaking the cycles that I had with men and the relationship I had with myself. Maybe not straight away, but perhaps that's for another story. This is the last part of the series. Stick around for more sexual healing, sacred sexuality, and my crazy life.